George Russell, what an incredible start to the season that man is having. He is taking to leading that Mercedes team like a duck to water. He really seems to thrive in that leadership kind of role. We've seen it with GPDA, he's the head of that. Now he's taken on being a Mercedes number one driver, and he's absolutely nailing it. He's done so much better than I think anybody expected him to. I think we were all writing Mercedes off at the start of the season. We all thought that they were going to be like the fourth best team, at least. But they have performed way beyond expectations at the moment. I would place them, I think they've got the second best car outright. I think Red Bull, sometimes they've got the second best car, sometimes they've got the fourth best car. Can't really work out where they are in the pecking order, but I would say Mercedes behind McLaren have been the second best team so far. They've just been absolutely fantastic. Antonelli has made a fantastic start to his Formula One career. I know he didn't get points in Bahrain, but fourth place in very tricky conditions in Melbourne, followed it up with two successive points finishes after that. A questionable Driver of the Day award. But he's had a very, very solid start. And yeah, Russell has just taken that team leadership mantle on, and he has just made that Mercedes team his own, and I think he's in the best form he's ever been. He is performing as well as I've ever seen him, even in his Williams days when he was outperforming that car to a ridiculous level. Even last year when he picked up a couple of wins, I think this, in terms of consistency, this is George Russell's best ever run in Formula One, and he is really showing that he has got all the credentials to be the future of that Mercedes team. Just had to move because I decided to record right by the door and the cars are being so loud on the road because it's very rainy. But yeah, obviously I think there were question marks going into 2024 when Hamilton announced that he was going to Ferrari, and Toto Wolff had to think long and hard about it, whether George Russell was the right man to back long term, because Russell had just come off quite a poor 2023 season, where Hamilton beat him quite comfortably and Russell tended to struggle quite a lot. I think Hamilton finished third in the championship and Russell finished quite a distant eighth. So there was a massive gap between them in 2023. So going into that 2024 season, I imagine Toto Wolff wasn't quite convinced over whether George really was the man. And obviously I know that win in Spa went a long way to Toto backing him, and it's definitely turned out to be the right decision because he's had 3 podiums already out of 4 races. He's been incredibly consistent. He's performing so well that some people are even saying that he could have an outside shot at the championship. Personally, I think it would be quite a big ask. You're going to need McLaren to fumble quite significantly for that to happen. But the fact that he's managing to put that Mercedes up there week after week after week, when, coming into this season, Red Bull and Ferrari were far more fancied than the Mercedes were. And it's taken us all by surprise, really, because I think it was just that consistency that Russell seemed to struggle with sometimes, bringing it all together all of the time. And something that he's really, really worked on this year. And he's just taken it to a completely different level. I think you can also attribute some of that to the Mercedes car from this year compared to last year. This year is a massive step forward on what was a very, very tricky car last year. George really struggled to get a handle on it. Lewis struggled to get a handle on it. It was very, very inconsistent. It thrived on cold tracks. It struggled at warm tracks, and it was just very, very hard to get a read on. Some circuits they come to and they'd be amazing, some they'd struggle, and they genuinely had no idea why that was. It was a very tricky car, whereas this year it seems a lot smoother, it seems a lot more versatile, can handle a wider range of circuits, and it's definitely playing into Russell's hands because he's able to maximise results at every single circuit that he's going to. A lot of people saying that he is the driver of the season so far, and it's kind of hard to argue against that. Oscar Piastri's been excellent, but he made that costly mistake in Australia. Max Verstappen's been amazing as well, but obviously had a tricky weekend in Bahrain. Ollie Behrman has been incredible. But yeah, Russell definitely seems to have started this season as the breakout star, and with rumours that Max Verstappen could be on his way out of Red Bull, come the end of this season, I think it was a very, very important time for Russell to stamp his authority and say, right, this is my team, I'm the top dog around here, and you're getting nowhere near it. Because although, you know, the allure of Max Verstappen being available, that's always going to tempt Toto Wolff, I think in the form that George Russell's in right now, it would be a very silly decision to bring Verstappen in, because one, Russell's in the form of his life at the moment. You've got a ready-made number one driver good to go. You can't boot out Antonelli after one season, I think, after putting so much into his junior career and giving him the opportunity. And also what they've done for George Russell as well, you know, the amount of time that they've put into his career. I think you've got to stick with those two now and, you know, give them the chance to develop the team and try and bring them back to where they want to be. You know, there are very strong rumours that Mercedes are going to be in a very strong position next year for the new regulations. They have the best engine package on the grid at the moment, and going into that season with a very strong Russell and a very strong Antonelli is going to put them in a very, very good position. I know I sound like a bit Captain Obvious there, but you know, having two drivers, one very, very young, upcoming talent who has a lot of potential, and then you've finally got a finished article George Russell as well, you know, that's going to be a very, very handy combination, especially if they are going up against the likes of McLaren, or maybe even a resurgent Ferrari, who knows? Or a rampaging Fernando Alonso who's finally got his dream package with Adrian Newey. I mean, you can't count out Red Bull either, but I think they've lost quite a lot of key personnel, and if they lose Verstappen as well, I think it could be game over for them. I really do. But yeah, I think it's going to be very, very interesting next year, and it's going to be very interesting to see if George Russell can keep that going, build on that positive momentum, and put a really consistent season together. And I think he's well on course to have his best year in Formula One, and you know, hopefully he can just keep it going now, capitalise on that good start, and just make the most of any opportunities that come his way. But yeah, that's my take on the George Russell situation at the moment. I think he's doing an incredible job, and I hope it continues. I hope this video made sense as well, because I feel like I was just waffling and rambling and kind of maybe just regurgitating the same points over and over again. But yeah, I just thought I'd give my take on the situation. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. I quite like having these little discussion videos. I'm really enjoying them so far. I mean, I've only done a couple, but yeah, it's something different, isn't it? But thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like on there for me. If you're new around here and you like what you see, why not get subscribed so that you can be notified of future videos like this one. Comment below any thoughts and suggestions that you may have. Thanks once again, take care of yourselves, and goodbye.